Jedi Survivor is a huge game. With 2 ginormous planet areas to explore, as well as 4 smaller ones, there's no shortage of hidden bonuses and Easter eggs for you to discover. There's a ton of chests and upgrades obviously, but that's only the beginning. So get comfy as we go through 25 hidden free gifts in Jedi Survivor. Things ranging from cool Easter eggs to game-changing upgrades, which will make sure you never miss any collectible again. Huge thanks to my patrons as always for supporting these videos, and now, let's get to it. First on our list, Santari Khri is a Jedi from the High Republic era who features pretty heavily in flashbacks throughout the game. What you may not know though is that even after 200 years, her lightsaber is still stashed safely away on Kobo. At least we can find the skin for it here. I'm not actually certain as to the canonicity of these chests, or whether they mostly serve as a gameplay mechanic, but to get this one though, head to the Untamed Downs region just down from the devastated settlement. The cave is just here, but to access the chest, we'll need a roller mine. Head to the other side of this passage down by this green shield and slice one from the ground just here. There's also a legendary droidica boss if you head through the shield, but anyway, lure the roller mine into the cave, throw it at this wall, and congratulations, you now have full access to a High Republic lightsaber design. Next up, you'll meet this little guy right at the start of the game. This pit droid's little platform ship has sunk into the tar, and not being strong enough with the Force at the time, Cal was powerless to help him. Well, if you remember to head back this way after learning the Force lift ability, the pit droid will still be there, waiting on its lost vehicle. Lifting it out for him then will earn the There Is No Try achievement, further pointing out how this is purely a mini Empire Strikes Back reference. Not only that, but the droid can be recruited to Pyloon Saloon and can later be found up on the Mantis platform, presumably helping to maintain the ship. Now, this next one goes to a psychologically dark place not too common for Star Wars. We may have killing younglings and full planetary obliteration already well established, but this is disturbing in a totally different way. In the town of Rambler's Reach, you'll want to come to this house here after you've unlocked both Force Lift and the Pass-Through Shields abilities. Getting inside this heavily guarded house, you'll meet Soont Madas, a very weird dude both in appearance and behavior, whom we'll have to calm with a Jedi mind trick. Digging a little deeper, we'll learn that Soont was a prospector who became obsessed with the Jedi meditation chambers. In fact, outside the Chamber of Fortitude, we can scan another memory of him there, chronicling his descent into madness. But it gets worse. Head into Soon's cellar, and we can find that in his madness, he killed his own brother, and has kept him trapped down there for God knows how long. Also, in the classic creepy thriller kind of way, once we discover his secret, he immediately mutters some creepy things and tries to kill us. Luckily, Cal ain't exactly horror victim material, but still creepy. Also, if anyone knows what species Soont is, then please tell me. I've been trying to look it up with no luck, and now it's really bugging me. Thanks. 2 characters you absolutely do want to meet though are Beamer and Tully, a pair that you'll come across in Kobo's Boiling Bluff region. You'll need a Neko to get up to this level, then coming over here you'll find them trapped on a rock being harassed by a Mogu. Carefully dispatching this most aggressive of enemies then, you can speak to the 2 to recruit them to Pyloon Saloon. Once you do, this is where the fun begins. Holotactics has existed in the Star Wars universe since the very beginning, and honestly it's so awesome to finally actually be able to play it for yourself. These 2 will set up shop in an upstairs booth where you can face off against other characters to win special rewards. It's a great mini battle simulator with an element of randomness to it, and you'll have to beat your opponent in all of their respective rounds in order to win their prize. It's got a level of satisfaction I haven't felt since Gwent, with even the ability to unlock new units being a thing by scanning them in the world. I can't think of a better and more fitting minigame for Star Wars. Coming out of the Holotactics booth though, you'll notice a large fish tank in the middle of the upper floor. And to fill this thing with all manner of exotic fish, you'll want to be on the lookout for Skoova Stev in all manner of exotic locations. Seriously, we'll be covering a massively deadly optional cavern in a minute, and you can just find this guy chilling down there fishing on his raft. Quite how he gets around so niftily on that thing is what I want to know. I've even found him over on Jeddah, so I've no idea how he crosses the galaxy. Are we saying this little life raft's got a built-in hyperdrive? Anyway, when you see him in each location, make sure to talk to him, at which point he'll always jump and grab a new fish to add to the aquarium. Speak to him again after he's caught the fish, and he'll also regale you with some long-winded story, much in the same way as the stereotypical Scottish fisherman would. Honestly, I don't find this non-cutscene dialogue to be the most riveting thing in the world, but for completionist vibes, gotta be done. Something else which had to be done though, and bugged the hell out of me until I figured out how to do it, was opening this door just down in the kitchen section of Pyloons. It comes up as a massive red thing on your map at the literal hub, so whilst you might assume it opens as a special 100% endgame bonus, the answer is actually much more simple. This is Moran's storage room, and in order to get inside, you'll have to become kinda close with Moran at the bar first. Make sure to talk to him every time you pass through, or just rest a bunch of times to speedrun the process, and finally, Moran will take you to one side and say you're free to whatever you fancy from his personal belongings. Inside, interestingly, is a jukebox song named Irin Cena, which you can play in the bar once you've recruited Asher and D-Deck in the Harvest Ridge section of Kobo. Up on the roof of Pyloons, we of course have the garden, where you can grow the various seeds you find on your travels. It may seem like a very secondary part of the game, and well, it is, yes, but it's also the key to unlocking one of the map upgrades to display all undiscovered seeds on the map. To get this, you'll have to unlock all 4 garden plots, which requires you to recruit Peely, an expert in making new plants grow in new locations. She can be found on Jeddah, living inside a rocky outcrop, and you should pass by her as you make your way through the Pilgrim's Path. Once at the garden, continue planting seeds and talking to her, and you'll eventually unlock this. And be warned, it's gonna make your map pretty crowded. Just down into Rambler's Reach though, you'll find this rudimentary looking building covered in that frozen volatile matter stuff. Getting inside then will require completing a nearby puzzle just over here in the Hunter's Quarry. Through this door, you'll have to navigate a room of this stuff, moving an orb from one end to the other. The trick is you can actually walk through this unstable matter whilst holding the orb, and once placed in this holder, the way out will be opened, but more importantly, the beam will extend all the way back to Rambler's Reach. Use BD1 to create a trail here, force open the front doors to the interior, and the building will explode. Once this is done, enjoy this awesome new blaster skin, Quickdraw. Defo a more badass look than the regular, in my opinion. For our 9 and 10 spots, you'll have to navigate one of the largest and most dangerous optional dungeons in the entire game. Von Key Cavern's entrance can be located just under this shack in Foothill Falls, and to really get inside it will also require force lift. Making your way through this dungeon, you'll not only have to fight another Rancor, but also later 3 bounty hunters at once. The Rancor ain't so bad, provided you use this pillar to stop it charging you, so just bear that in mind. It was definitely one of my favourite overall dungeons in the game, and the fact that it's optional too, well, it just means the side quests are pretty strong with this one. Getting to the end of the dungeon, our first upgrade is right near this elevator to the surface. Head all the way up to this obscure area above where the Magnaguards are situated, and slice this terminal for the Magnaguard Slice upgrade. Best thing about this is we can test it immediately with the Magnaguards down below. Then you'll want to head slightly deeper into the dungeon, and the first time you attempt to do this, you'll be stopped by ray shields. So make sure to come back afterwards, and you'll unlock the map upgrade to see all undiscovered chests. This one is absolutely awesome, and it's already helped me find a bunch of hidden passages knowing that there was a chest nearby. But it does also mean you'll be checking the map every 30 seconds for the rest of the game, so bear that in mind. Now, for a good long while, I got the impression that Forced Tears were entirely arena battles designed to test your combat prowess. And whilst there's a huge amount of those scattered about the place, those wanting to test their parkour reflexes should head back down into the Smuggler's Tunnels under Pyloon Saloon. We come here very early on, but can't access this one until later. Up from the subterranean lake where Skoova Stev is a Forced Tear involving a combo of wires and laser shields. It's not too long of a course, but would likely take you a few tries to get the hang of. Afterwards, you'll get an extra skill point and the gift of knowing you mastered those zip lines. The Vile Bilemore is a boss down in the Foggy Expanse whom you can get a rumour marker on by speaking to Mosey pretty late into the game. It's honestly not that tough of a boss compared to most, but despite this, offers a pretty cool reward. The Fortitude Perk takes up 4 slots and allows us to deal a lot more damage, but also take a lot more too. It makes the game more realistic, and I'm all for it if you have enough spare perk slots. Which brings me on to... Now, I went my entire playthrough of the main story without seeing a single extra perk slot, and I'd suggest that's something nobody does, as they're a huge help in all manner of ways, and the more the merrier. One such extra perk slot can be found by completing a puzzle at the derelict dam on Kobo. You'll first need the ability to pull this platform down to reach this area, after which you'll have to use roller mines, beams, and this matter spray stuff to complete the puzzle. Eventually, you'll make your way out on top, where you'll unlock 1 extra perk slot. And if you want a great indication all round as to where all upgrades are on the map, well, there's a map upgrade for that too. But to get it, you'll first have to complete all 7 of Kobo's Jedi meditation chambers. These are scattered around Kobo, and the most straightforward way to discover them is to recruit the Twi'lek Toa back to Pyloons, who'll mark undiscovered ones on your map each time you come and speak to her. You'll initially come across her pretty early during the main story, so just make sure to talk to her here, and she'll be around to point you to all the chambers for the rest of the game. Each is a puzzle room housing some form of upgrade at the end, and now once you've done all 7, you'll want to return to the Alignment Center fast travel point, which is unlocked very late into the main story, and you'll see that all 7 of these terminals are lit up green. At that point, slice the console behind you, and you'll now be able to see all remaining upgrades like Force and Health marked on your map. Definitely one of the most useful things to have in the game. Now, BX droids ain't exactly tough opponents compared to some, but nor are they a walk in the park either. In fact, I have a newfound respect for the Jedi who dispatch these guys so easily during the Clone Wars. They're made of much sturdier stuff than most, and are very quick. So what if I told you we can actually recruit them to our side with the help of a very nifty upgrade? Once you've unlocked both Force Dash and Lift, you'll want to return to the generator underbelly of the Separatist supply ship. Get to these raisable running walls and do the initial run, then head into this electrical chamber and raise the middle one. Quickly come out, raise the first one, and run across the 2 to the platform at the end, and then slice this console for the BX Droid Slice upgrade. Nice. Now, if like Cameron Monaghan, you wish for a return to the Ponchos from the first game, then, well, you're in luck. They're unlockable. You are also terribly out of luck, because where they're specifically unlockable just so happens to be the lair of the spawn of Ogdo over in Fort Kalin. Now, don't get me wrong, the Rancors are tough, but there's a level of reward there once you figure out how to counteract their entire moveset. Spawn of Ogdo is just fast, aggressive, and an exponentially worsening nightmare with each increased difficulty setting. I finally beat him on Master pretty late into the game, which was a huge relief, but honestly, I'm not sure there's much hope on Grandmaster difficulty. Anyway, however you defeat him, your reward afterwards will be the return of the Ponchos. Do with that what you will. Now, this next one is an incredibly obscure Easter egg, obviously intended as a joke by the developers. Over in the Untamed Downs region, past this sleeping Bilemore, we'll come to a cave. Hop to the upper levels of said cave and come to this little blue box. Search for some foliaged bit of wall through which we can enter one of those tiny crevices. Now, the first joke here is that you'll have to spend almost 3 minutes crawling through this thing, and well, it's just lucky Cal isn't claustrophobic. Finally, coming to the end then, we'll encounter this very bizarre Easter egg of a Mogu posing like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park whilst being sketched by 3 battle droids. And I love how having 2 of them work together results in a literal child stick figure drawing. There's also some illustrations of the B1s at the back here, and all in all, this is an incredibly bizarre Easter egg, as well as a huge troll from the devs. Luckily, the way out isn't the same crack as the way in. Can you imagine? Next up, I've got a 4-in-1 for you. This is one of the biggest puzzles over on Jeddah, and involves a selection of ancient ruins scattered about the arid flats and desert ridge. They'll be pretty easy to spot from afar on account of being tall monolithic structures. The whole thing is tied to some research that Eno Cordova was doing on said ruins, and basically involves transporting these orbs up to the top of each structure. There's 3 initial ruins in total, each of which has an effect on the primary central ruin. Each one, after being completed, will unlock a perk upgrade and some steps that open up here. So be sure not to miss any of those, as 3 extra perk slots is massive. Then, for the ruin closest to the archive, you'll want to make sure to head up to this little hidden side area to unlock the full industrial design for BD1. Now, of the 3 structures, the one I found toughest to beat was furthest up from the archive and requires a fair amount of speed and forward planning, where you have to figure out a specific order to activate all these orbs. Eventually though, you'll complete all 3 to unlock a secret chamber in the central ruin. Down here, we can firstly find Eno Cordova's full lightsaber design, which kind of reminds me of Obi-Wan's, but is still nicely different. But more importantly, if we slice this terminal, you'll unlock the final map upgrade to locate all treasures, i.e. Priorat shards, Jedi scrolls, and data discs, which can then be spent at the various vendors for new upgrades and cosmetics. By now though, your map should be looking pretty crowded, and you should be able to find most of the hidden treasures. But let me point you to a few more of the absolute best ones. Back at the starting region of Jeddah, just through this liftable door out of the Skryton sand pit, you'll come into these ruins. Now, up top you may notice this special chest, but how to get to it? Well, either you can awkwardly wall run your way to the platform above this wall and hop up to it, or you can come over the top from the ruins across the way, where the Fractured Tradition Force Tear is located. Inside the chest will be yet another full blaster design, this time called the Skeleton Key. It looks a bit less bulky than Quickdraw, as you'd expect from the name, and I don't like it quite as much, but hey, is it worth collecting? Absolutely. And to be honest, these special old chests are always just satisfying to find and loot. Now, Cal ain't exactly a devout follower of the Jedi Code. There's no order to enforce things anymore, and Yoda would probably have a stern chat with him if they met. But that doesn't mean we can't dress in the monk-like robes of the Jedi of old. So along the Pilgrim's Path, once you come to the Crypt of Urma meditation point, head into this little round building here, up the steps, and then we'll run along to this little alcove where you can unlock the Jedi robes from another cool ancient chest. Now, brilliantly, you can access this the first time you come here, as it's not locked behind any undiscovered abilities. So you could be looking like a true Jedi right from around the midpoint of the game. Also, right by the Crypt of Urma, travelling a bit further along the path, you can come down into this pretty cozy ancient chamber. What you may not realise though, is that there's actually a hidden door located here, and to the very attentive amongst us, you may realise that these pullable pillars are actually connected to these pillars from earlier down the Pilgrim's Pass. Well, either way, you're learning from me now that the thing to do is pull these four, and these four only, to unlock a whole hidden area. Now, first up, always appreciated here, is a bonus Stim canister. Then, further along, a new fish, and finally a hidden boss, the Sutaban Alpha. Defeating this one will grant us the Gambler perk, which provides a massive boost to XP, but makes it unrecoverable upon death. Provided you don't die all too often though, you should be filling that skill meter to new levels more, so as to earn extra XP overall, on average. Hey, with all these new perk slots we have now, we can even combine it with the Wisdom perk from Z's shop, which provides an even further XP boost to ensure we're leveling up all the time. You're going to want as many skills unlocked as possible after all, before heading into New Game Plus. Finally then, bounty hunting is a complicated profession, wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's especially the case for Cal. I don't imagine it's too common for Jedi to take on roles as bounty hunters, but then again, the Haxian brood are hunting him anyway, so might as well turn the competition around before he gets surprise attacked. Now, the bounty hunting side quest may seem secondary to everything else that's going on, but this really is something you don't want to pass up on. The two top bounty hunters won't be simple boss battles either, but rather they'll repurpose entire areas of Jeddah and Kobo into dungeon crawls against a whole slew of these fairly tough to beat enemies. What's more, collecting bounty perks will allow us to upgrade our blaster bolts to do different specialized things, and we'll also be able to slice more droids. But the true gift here comes once all bounties are completed, and if you want to learn this for yourself, it's a really cool surprise after all, then this is your 3-second spoiler warning. If you don't want this spoiled, then skip to the next timestamp. 3, 2, 1. Still here? Good. Boba Fett shows up, and we have a cool little encounter and convo with him. He's obviously pretty pissed off at the Jedi still after what Mace Windu did to his dad, but there's no fight here, which is probably for the best. He's voiced by Temuera Morrison as well, which is nice considering he seemed a little gutted not to be in Mando Season 3, so at least we get a little cameo here. In fact, he's probably got more lines here than across episodes 5 and 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. But let me, and everyone else know in the comments below, any more hidden secrets and free gifts which can be found in Jedi Survivor. I've covered a lot here, but honestly feel like I've only scratched the surface for things to discover in this game. I might do a part 2 somewhere, if enough more hidden free gifts or secrets come to light, we'll see. Massive shout out again to my Patreon supporters for going the extra mile to support the channel. You guys are awesome, and if this video helped you out, then likes are also greatly helpful and appreciated. Thanks for watching, I'm Sam Bram, and may the 4th be with you.